Okay.
Okay. Starting recording. Start again. Okay, starting. Hey guys, I'm back. So today I am here with my best friend, Rachel, and we are going to have a conversation about work. And all of us, how it feels like, we work all the time. And some of us, we enjoy work. Some of us, we don't enjoy work. And some of us, like, we're in this position where we feel like we're overworking. And with what's been happening with, COVID-19, especially Rachel in her line of work with what she does, I feel like, there's lots of things to do. And, sometimes, I feel sometimes as humans, we get tired and we don't sometimes listen to our body. And we were having this discussion last year a little bit, and then we thought, well, it would be nice to, delve into it and have a conversation about it. So, Rich has been my best friend for the longest time. We've known each other since high school,
That's
and
like 22 years, I think now.
22 years.
20, yeah, 21 years. 21?
Oh my God, it doesn't make us younger,
22.
huh?
22.
22.
Going on 22, I think. Anyways,
2020.
doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but the specific of it. More than 20
Yeah,
years.
more than 20 years. There we go. So she's a podcaster. She works at a hospital. She's my bestie, and you know. So yeah, I think we're gonna start the convo right now. And yeah, let's begin. It's nervous, guys, because like I usually do like this conversation with people, that are friends, of course, but like, doing with Rachel, I've known her for the longest time. So it's just like, oh, I don't know how to do this,
Yeah,
but yeah.
it's a bit like, oh wait, this is the first time. Not the first time that we're having like a not a serious conversation. We've had those before, but it's the
Yes.
I think it's the whole setup that we're recording, that we know that it's gonna go onto your YouTube channel, and then it's you and me, and it's it's like, oh, okay, am I being interviewed? Like it's not it's not
I know.
unnatural, but it's a bit like
Yeah, like because whenever we have this kind of conversation, we're always like either on Skype or before when I used to live in Canada, I was with Rachel and we would be talking and it was like a natural setting for us. But now it's like we're being filmed. Well, I'm filming, but
mhm.
still, yeah. Okay, we're gonna start. So. The first question is it's very simplistic, but I do think that you have to start somewhere to get the conversation flowing, and I do think it's important to talk about it because things happen when we're young, and and when we get older we see it from in another light. So my question is, do you feel that the school system was the beginning of us? Was the beginning of the society telling us as children to perform, perform, perform.
um Personally, I think so, but also I think having the parents that I had also added on to that. So yes,
Mm,
within the school system, there is that sense of you have to be like top of the class in order to matter, or in order to uh be someone of value, I guess.
mm,
So there is that drive, and especially, that I was in Douance, which is, for those who don't know, Douance in here in the high school system. I mean, I don't even know if it exists anymore at this point, but I was in a it was in an advanced class. So compared to, let's say, regular high school, and even there, it's like, even there, just the connotation of words, it's just
yeah.
um quote unquote regular high school. It's basically having, I don't know, like an advanced math, or having more science classes as opposed to history classes, or arts, right? So they would deem that having a sciencey background was more advanced, or that was that the enriched class, or you know you would play music. We were both in there, so depending on their scale, you had different classes, right? So already there, it put me in a place of I have to perform because I'm already in a quote unquote higher class situation, right? I
Yeah,
didn't want it, right? So already there, I was already put in a place where I had to perform, and even the teachers would always be like, "Oh, you guys are douans," which means that you have to set the example for the rest of the other groups,
yeah,
right? So they would always tell us these things like, "Oh, you guys are like crème de la crème." I don't remember which teacher said that. I think it was Madame Comchamp. She was our math teacher. Like you guys are supposed to be these straight A students. So already
yeah,
there, it puts you in this zone of like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to be a certain way. I
yeah,
mean, and mind you, I say when I mentioned my parents, it was also because I was brought up coming from immigrant parents, coming to Canada in that way because they were trying to escape the life that they had and trying to make a better life for us.
yeah,
They also don't want necessarily like not because that they failed, because I don't think they failed. They just did the best that they could, but they also put it on my sister and me to kind of be like don't fail us. Like I brought you,
yeah,
like you could have had a life back in the Philippines, but I brought you here. So, don't let us down kind of. They never said it in that way, but it was kind of
yeah,
in that sense too. So in I guess in society, you have to perform, and to be good anywhere, you have to get the grades, you have to get the certificates, you have to get the bachelor's, you have to get the master's, you have to get all these things in order to be socially acceptable and accepted in society, right? So
yeah,
having my parents on top of that, there was like this drive to perform, and to perform, you have to work hard. And then to work hard, like you have to do everything
yeah,
that people tell you to do to go to the top.
yeah.
So I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense. Does it?
No, honestly, it
Yeah,
totally makes
okay.
sense. Totally makes sense because there's like one thing you said about, you were talking about the connotation of, douance.
Mhm,
What we explain what douance is in back when we
mm,
were like, you were like in an elevated class, if you can say, and then there's like the regular class, right? So it
mhm,
makes sense because that line was really interesting to me because I do find that there is in a way that, you had to perform to be in douance. You had to perform to stay in regular. You had to perform to stay to be in the class that was below douance and regular, right? So you see already like I felt for me personally, that's why I find it interesting. There was this need of perform or this is what you get. you know Perform or this or you'll be there. Perform
mhm,
or hopefully you'll be a regular, or perform you'll be douance. And
mhm.
even like saying that like crème de la crème. But in French, we say like crème de la crème. It's like the best of the best, if you could say that,
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah, sorry, I didn't say.
Yeah.
I
No, it's
didn't
okay. No,
explain
no, no.
what it was.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so
and then we should also mention that, we just talked about being an enriched class and
yeah,
regular, but there was even below regular, which
it's below there. Yeah,
so there was
it's
even
below.
quote unquote worse than being in regular, which
Yeah,
was I don't remember what it was called.
I, it was just a number. It was just a number.
Yeah,
It
but it
was
was
just
it wasn't special ed because there was also special, like the special
yeah,
group, quote
yeah.
unquote special. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's true, it's true. And when you think about like in hindsight, like you would listen to it and you think it would make sense, because like if you're not good, then it's okay, you can be that. If you're good, then you'll be in the regular, and if you
Hmm.
know the that, then you're on top, right? And then
Yeah.
when you listen to it, it sounds interesting. But I remember being in regular me, and like I would hear the way some student would talk in a way, and then they would say, "Oh, well, I'm not in douance, I'm not in the enriched class, so this is I'll do the best I can. Not every student, I have to be very careful not to
Mm-hmm.
say everyone talk this way, but you would see how some people would like value themselves due to how the school system would place them, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And then that's why I knew like there's like this thing where you had to then in my case, I mean, I did, I was in regular, but I did, I worked the best I could, and I was like, I was good, I got good grades, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't get like 80s, I didn't get like 90s, but I get, lower 80s and 70s, and that was I was getting that, but sometimes I would be like, I have to perform, I have to perform. So what would happen is that I would study just to get the grade because of the messages I was getting instead of studying just to, learn or do better, And maybe that's just the way I would see things. And what about you? Like, would you study to get the grades, or you just like,
I would study, yeah, I would study definitely to get the grades, but I was a nerd.
oh, you're a nerd, and I love
I
that about
was
you.
I was a nerd,
Yeah,
like 90 and above, right?
yeah,
So that was important for me. Like for me
yeah,
myself too. Like as society aside, for me
yeah,
myself, 90 and above was my standard. Like it was to me it made me feel good about it. Like I didn't want
yeah.
to get 60s. When I would see if I would see a 60 on a paper, it was a little bit like, oh, okay,
Oh my,
I
like,
would like I failed I failed myself,
um,
but it rarely happened except maybe like physical education, which was like so shit. Am I allowed to say shit on your channel? Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
go. It's okay, don't worry.
Okay. And, but what was your question?
Yeah, I mean, did you when you studied, did you study because you studied for the
Oh yeah,
grades, or you?
yeah. No, for the grades, I mean, there were certain things that I would like studying, like math, that I would
Yeah,
enjoy, that I would truly enjoy, math
yeah,
and biology. Some,
yeah.
those I would enjoy. So then having the grade was just a bonus.
A
But other
bonus,
than
yeah.
that, for history class, which I totally hated, I just wanted the grade. I
And
didn't.
that
I
was,
wasn't necessarily interested in like Histoire du Canada. You know what I mean? Like history of Canada.
yeah,
Sorry, you know, we went to French school, French high school. That's why. It's not necessarily like something that would interest me, but I would want the grades because also there's that thing in being in douance or in rich class that you have to maintain a certain average
yeah,
because we
yeah,
were the top whatever
yeah,
group. So, because otherwise you could have been switched out. I mean, I don't think anyone did. I don't like downgraded, right? You could
yeah,
end up going to regular class
yeah,
or whatever. Or
yeah,
but so there was that thing to maintain
yeah.
also.
So I think that's why I feel it was very interesting because I sometimes feel like there's like this need you have to perform to stay in, a certain um I don't know how to say this, a certain group, I guess, So you really had to, to perform, right? And I did feel like sometimes I would like, me too, I had good grades, I get like 80s, 85, 86, if I got a 60, it would happen like two, three, four times. I got a 60, 61, 60. I would be like, oh my God, it'd be like
No.
the end of life, and I would be so sad. But yeah, that's why like I tell myself like this notion of perform to stay where you are, begin as you're young. I don't know if I have the exact answer. Maybe in a way, yes, in a way,
Mhm.
no. I do feel like society does tell us what to do, but we also have our like individual stuff to, to do things, and to achieve it, So yeah, it's difficult. That's why then as we go from, high school where it's the message I feel is there, but it's kind of muffled, we go into adulthood, you know. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember like university, of course, university you have to perform to get into your job that you wanna make
Yes.
it, you know. And at the same time, like you have no choice. Like they won't let you be a lawyer and you didn't study. Like what you gonna come
Yeah.
do? You know? Like, well, I'm a lawyer, like you know.
Yeah,
But
I understand what you mean.
but as you go into the workforce, I remember as I was a kid, I was like, I can wait to be an adult. I can wait. I have my own house, my own apartment. I'll be married. You know, I'll be
Mhm.
independent. You know, and then I became an adult. Like,
And
like
then
you know,
we learned what adulting truly was.
actually was. You know, and that's where I really delve into it more now. You know, as we've been working, we've been in the workforce for some kind. I sometimes feel that like we work to pay the bills. We work to make sure that we have a house. To work to make sure that we can eat. We work to make sure that we can you know pay the electricity, whatever.
Mhm.
And then sometimes some of us, I hear stories of people, work having two, three jobs just to have a certain sense of living. It's like
Mhm.
they work to survive and others work just to live, right? If it makes sense, right?
Yes.
So then my question is, did you sometimes feel as if you had to work, 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 and you would work and just to make ends meet, but not just to make ends meet, but just to make sure that you would travel, just make sure that you would be able to do like
Mhm.
sometimes you find out like you had to overwork, like just in general, you know?
In general,
Yeah.
I would think yes.
Mm.
You know, like it's my choice if I want to use my money to be able to travel and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you do have to work to get
To
what you
get some.
want, right? Like, and I mean, I'm a medical lab technologist, so I earn not create like not I'm well off. I'm not I'm not trying to meet ends meet for per se, but I am, I would like to have more than what I earn, and I feel like sometimes I work and then suddenly, when you get your paycheck and then suddenly you have none left. Like you paid your bills, you bought your groceries, and then what's left? And then you're like, well, I worked like a dog for the past 2 weeks. I mean, I don't know how it works in New Zealand when you get like your pays and stuff. I don't know if it's like
Yeah.
once a month or every 2 weeks like here.
Yeah.
Um,
Once a
but
month, once a month in New
once a
Zealand.
month. Okay, so for here in Canada, we get it every 2 weeks, right? So and then you get your paycheck and then you pay everything off and then you're like, oh, okay. Then you have to wait for until like your next paycheck and then I feel like I worked insane amount of hours for nothing at all,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just like this vicious cycle of I'm working for what? Like,
Very
oh, I'm
good.
working for my travels, but yet I still don't have enough to travel, so I have to work more. I
That's
have
good.
to, right? Like, because that's kind of the way that you have to make money. I mean, I mean, even if you're like a drug dealer, you're like still working, hustling for your money. You're still
Yeah.
working for your money,
Yeah.
right? Like you're still, and that's just like the way to go. There's no way that money falls from trees. If someone
Exactly.
invents that, please do it. But like,
I'd be in my garden. I'd be like in the
right?
garden day and night. Like there you go. You have to work because you have to make sure that you put all
Yeah,
the right brains, everything, just to make the yeah.
exactly. You have to. There's no other way to go around it unless you have this. No offense to anyone who is like a trust fund, but like if you have this major trust fund that you can live a really full and
Yeah.
full life with just your trust fund until the end of your days, that's great, but not like that is just what, like 1% of the population, not even, I don't even know. But like the like the middle class, let's say working people, we're all working, and even Even billionaires will have to work. I mean, they
Yeah,
have excess, but they're still working and they're still working. Why? Even though they have billions.
it's true,
And
right?
it's just that sense of like I need to work to be able to do something with myself. Like that
Yeah,
is that is the thing. You have a good job. Oh, then you're good. You're a good person. You're a meaningful person in society because you have a good job, right?
yeah. And again, that message, it's very interesting that you brought up because like you have, I feel like sometimes what happens that we, not us, but is sometimes society judges people on the work they do, basically, right?
Mhm.
Like if you are a doctor, you're viewed a certain way. If you
Mhm.
are a lawyer, you're just like, oh my God. If you're a politician, oh my God.
Mhm.
Then if you work in the sex industry, you're frowned upon. You
Mhm.
know, if you
Garbage man, for
garbage,
example.
you're frowned upon again.
Mhm.
And then like it's like there's like this message of I if you want to be well viewed, perform to be this, or you'll end up being that.
Mhm.
And nobody wants to be that.
Exactly.
And then, yeah, and there's like this message that we get, that there are good work, there are good jobs, and there are bad jobs.
Mhm.
But depending on the job you're doing, like you just want to survive. You just want to make sure that like I think we all want the same thing. We all want to live, at least, live in a house, or just, make sure that we can eat, make sure that, we can live all together. And then this is where I find that performing, like, you work, work, work. As soon as you become an adult, you work, 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 work. To the point sometimes you get extremely exhausted. And I found myself when I came to New Zealand and like looking for a job, and like it was a bit difficult, and COVID came in, and I think it became a bit more difficult. So like like sometimes you find yourself like out of job, and then you feel like you're not worth it.
Mm.
Like you feel like if
Mhm.
not working, like it's as if our self-worth
Mhm.
linked to only work. you know
Yeah.
do you feel like sometimes you just like like I don't know. For me, it happened a few times in my life, just in general in my life, where I was working and I was overworking,
Mhm.
and I told myself, in order for me to make it, I just have to work, 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 work. And at the end of the day, I was just exhausted. I'm just like, what the hell? What am I doing? Like seriously, what am I doing with my life? Did
Mhm.
that has happened to you?
Yeah, it actually has, and that's why I became a yoga teacher. So
Yeah.
so this happened a few years, couple of years ago,
Yeah.
and my goal in becoming a yoga teacher is not only to be able to teach yoga, which is something I love to do, but also my goal is to be able to transition out of the hospital air
Mm,
zone because so I work in a hospital lab, and at the time I was working a lot of night shifts, and I
mm,
was just working, 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 and no one would really want to do a night shift. And I remember thinking, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, no matter if it's a good standing job, it's
yeah.
government paid, it's a secure job, all the things
Yeah.
that parents want their child to have when they grow up, right? Like
Yeah.
super secure. And that's basically like the American dream or Canadian dream from for my parents that I get, to a
Yeah.
certain level in society, right?
Yeah.
And but that's not what I wanted to do. I was just I think I learned that through the night shift and wanting to like a bit of background is that at the night during that night shift I actually wanted to continue and get that position at the
Yeah.
time. And I was in a good place to be able to get it, but like the bosses didn't want to do anything for it until something happened when they realized, oh yeah, no, we actually needed her. And that's when I realized that I was just a number. So no matter how hard I worked, no matter how good I performed at work, I'm a good employee. I'm not lazy,
Yeah.
whatever, like I'm a good employee. I know that. No matter how great you are at work, no matter how nice, no matter how polite, no matter how respectful, no matter how hard you work, no matter how fast you work, no matter, you could be the top athlete in the group of of your employment,
Yeah.
your workforce, and it wouldn't matter because you're just a number.
It's a number. Yeah.
We're not paid like maybe in some companies you're paid on merit and performing and all those things, but in this government job,
Yeah.
you're just a number. You have a
Yeah.
salary, you're paid the same way. It's not because you do 10 things extra over the other employees that you'll get an extra raise. It's just you're just a number. You're just these little ants that perform. And that's when I
Yeah.
realized it. And that's when I was like, I need to find a way to get out of here. I need to find a way to at least go part-time because I'm
Part
still
time.
working today in a hospital lab. So from then I transitioned into going part-time from then till now. And there was 2019, which was a crazy year for me where it was just doing all these things for yoga, all these things for work, like I was just overworked. And then
Yeah.
COVID happened, and then I was still overworked, and I'm still just a number. And I'm like, okay, I need to figure out a way. But now I'm at part time, so it's better. I don't
It's
have
better.
that sense of like, okay, I'm working for what? Now at least
Yeah.
I'm working. Now I can find that space where I'm like, okay, I'm at work now, and I have time to wind down after. Like
Yeah.
that will pay the bills, and I can do more things that I love, so it compensates. But yeah, there were times where I was like, I'm overworked and what am I doing this for? you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was thinking, I do feel like, when COVID hits, like like I've those are things I've always questioned even before COVID. I think those are things that people always question even before. Like you're just working, and sometimes you work till like late, and you come back home, and you tell yourself, oh, what did I do? I just, I want to prove myself to my boss. I want to prove myself to my family. I want to prove myself to my parents, because parents
Mhm.
are the most important figures, and you want to prove to your parents, and sometimes you find yourself working, and then you just like, and then when you're not working, you're just like, okay, I'm a lazy person, like
Mm.
even sometimes like sometimes when I would take vacations, before I would take a vacation, I'd be very happy on my vacation, but then I'd be like, I would say, okay, well, it's time to go back to work. I have to make,
Mm.
I have, you know, I have to be worthwhile. I have to, contribute to society. It's like this message. I'll be like, I'd have my vacation. I'd be like, okay, back to work. And then like for some time, I felt as if, I'm working just to prove others, just to prove society that I can perform, to prove society that I'm worthwhile. And I feel like when COVID hit, with COVID, like depending on which situation you were in, I find, some people like you, suddenly you had to really, really
Mhm.
work. It's like,
Mhm.
it's like, it's like, yes, we work a lot, but I would see you and like sometimes you'd be like exhausted. Like you're like,
Mhm.
you'd come back and be like, Rachel, what's going on? And you'd be like, I don't want to talk about it. Like you get irritated, and
Mhm.
rightfully so, like you would work, okay? And then there are other people who don't have a job all of a sudden.
Mhm.
So that notion of, feeling worthwhile is just like, I'm not working. I'm working. So you're just like panicking, like, what am I doing? Like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna pay my bills? How am I gonna do this? So it's like there's been like this thing where for me, it's like what I was thinking before made me realize of how society, in some way, has forced us, depending on where we are, like we're not like there's no win-win situation.
Exactly.
Work really hard, and you're exhausted at the end of the day, and just like,
Mhm.
what am I doing? Like, even though it's something worthwhile, it's like even something that you love, you just find yourself just like, am I really like killing myself,
Mhm.
to prove society? And you're on the other end of the spectrum where you're not working, and you're just like, I have to work, I have to work, I have to work. So it's just like there's like this funny thing that happens. Am I making sense? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was part of the because when COVID happened, we ended up having kind of two different groups. The ones
Yeah,
where you have the essential workers because
yeah,
things need to keep turning or things need to keep moving. You can't shut down hospitals, you can't shut down grocery stores because people need to eat or you know what I mean? And then you
yeah,
have the other extreme where people are considered non-essential,
yeah,
so they end up having their jobs taken away. So I was in the essential group because I test for COVID. So then I was in a place where I was just overworked. And I'm super grateful that I have this job. You know, if there's one thing that that this government
yeah,
job, you know what I mean? Like I had the job security. So
yeah,
I didn't have to worry about money and all those things, whereas other people they had to start worrying about where their funds are going to start coming in. I didn't have that stress, but as much as I didn't have that stress, I had the stress also at the beginning of COVID, which was what is COVID? Like now we have more information than we had back in March 2020,
yeah,
where where it was like, what is this thing? And we had to wear these N95s, which was the top, maybe not the top end of masks, but it was better masks than the ones that we're wearing now where it doesn't matter, right? So like we had
yeah,
like so much stress, like am I going to bring it home? And I'm living with my parents, and at the time I was living with my boyfriend at the time, and I was like, am I going to bring it home to him? Am I like, it was all this stressful time, and everyone had different stresses, right?
yeah,
So like I went to a place where I already felt overworked
yeah,
from the job to a place where I was just like overwhelmed like
yeah,
crazy. Whereas you had
yeah,
the other section which was overwhelmed but for different reasons. Overwhelmed because there was so much stress. Am I going to get COVID? And if I get COVID, how am I going to pay my bills? Am I going to like there's so many there like the whole world was just it was pandemonium. Like
yeah,
it was just like a crazy stressful time. And then so I was part of the group where I still kept working. But then I
yeah,
was working for because I was just like, well, you know, I'm testing for COVID, and yes, I do love that my job to a certain point because I am helping
yeah,
society in a way. I'm helping people, not society. I don't want to use that word. I'm helping people. You know, like yes, society as a whole, yes, okay, but in the end it's I'm helping patients and I test for COVID and stuff, so there is that rewarding sense for myself to be like, oh, I made some sort of a difference in this
yeah,
world. But
yeah.
I was
That's
still in a
that.
place where I'm like overworked and
Yeah,
just like, what am I doing this for? Like, so I did all my high school, all my college, all my university, all for this moment where I'm like I want to pull my hair out and stressed. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
No,
Like,
like, it's
like
true,
did I
and,
do
and
it for that? Like, is the pressure? Like, what did I? Like you were saying earlier, I wanted to be. I can't wait to be an adult.
yeah,
You have this vision of like how an adult has to be, and it's the same with me. You're like, oh, I can't wait to, go function in society and like have a nice job and buy a house and all these things, right? And then you enter adulthood and it's not at all at that. And then I look back and I'm like, why did I want 90 marks and up
yeah,
for me to end up being really, really stressed in life? You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's like this
It's
weird thing. Did I
interesting
really do it for that?
because it's fun because like you start asking yourself like, did I do all this studying for being in this situation, you know?
Hmm.
And again, maybe that, and also, we're talking, because we're in a, you know, I think it depends on where you are in the world or whatever. I don't know. I'm just
Hmm.
like, I want to make sure
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
like we're fully aware that, in some places like this, just like it's harder than other places. So
of
like
course.
yes, it's even worse, But just on what we know of on our experiences, of course, like I feel like sometimes you find yourself and you're just like, oh, I've been studying, and you're just like study, work. work, 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 work. And it's just like, at the same time, like I know it's the only way, it's the way to survive. This is how society has made. This
Mhm.
is how, we as human have um built our society that, to
Mhm.
have just certain things, to be in the house, to just have anything, you have to work, right? And then it's just like this. So I was asking myself the question, like, yes, we have to do this, but are we overworked? Because the moment we stop, I do find sometimes, speaking for myself, like the moment I stop, I start panicking. I'm like, I'm doing nothing. I'm doing
Mhm.
nothing. I'm not being worthwhile to society.
Mhm.
I'm not, I'm not proving myself to society. Even like sometimes when I'd go on vacations, I'd be like, I'm on vacation. I'm like, oh, thank God, I can wind down. But then I'd be like, I have to go back to work. I have to go back to
Mhm.
work. Like it's like this robotic thing that happens if
Mhm.
I, and just if I talk to myself, and that's why I was the next one. It's very simplistic, but then the question I would say, do you think that um work hours should maybe be less than what they are now, depending on what you're doing, so people can have a balance of work life and relaxed life, if it
I
makes
think
sense.
so. I
You
mean,
think so?
especially, I mean, I don't know how it is in New Zealand, but you know how it is here in Canada and the
Yeah,
US. So it's very much work oriented. It's very much go, go, go. You have to perform. And I know that you and Marine, that's our other best friend, um who come from you or grew up in Europe, and there's more of a balance there. That you have more
yeah,
vacation time, I think, or like in France, I'm talking about France mostly, you have more vacation time. I don't know how it is in the rest of Europe, but I feel like Europeans in general have more of that sense of balancing out work and play. Whereas
yeah,
here in the US and in Canada, I feel like it's a very Western mentality where you're just working to perform and to reach the top of
yeah,
something. Who knows what that top is, right? But
yeah,
I do feel that if we were to split time better, reduce hours, get paid a little more, I think people would have, even if you have a 3-day weekend. Do you remember when we would, in high school and in university, when you have a day off, like, and it's added onto a weekend, how much of a difference it makes,
yeah,
like just that one extra day. And even like now I can say, like, when a holiday falls like on a Friday or a Monday and we get a longer weekend, we're like, yes, thank
yeah,
God, right? You're like, there's this sense of like, okay, I have a little bit more time for myself, even if you don't necessarily, because you have a family, you have kids, you have whatever. But there's that sense of like, okay, I have a little bit more time to breathe, even though it's not necessarily to breathe, but having that extra time already gives you a sense of like release. You're
release, yeah,
already you're already looking forward to just doing a little bit more of what you want to do. And even if your list of to-dos are really long, maybe you get to do the things that you actually want to do, not the
yeah,
things that you have to do, like the things that
yeah,
you actually want to do and enjoy. So there's that sense of, yeah, so yeah, definitely finding a balance. I mean, I don't know when it'll happen or if it'll even happen,
yeah,
but but that's, if not, then you make it happen like I like I did. So basically I went from a full-time position to instead of working 10 shifts within 2 weeks, so Monday to Friday, I'm working 7 now.
yeah,
So it gives me a lot more time. And
yeah,
like you were saying, on vacation you tend to think go, go, go and stuff. I'm the
mm,
same way. Like on a vacation, I like a nice balance of like doing and doing nothing.
yeah,
And I'm also like a type A personality where I'm always wanting to do something. Like I go from extremes, like from doing, doing, doing to like completely lazy sloth mode, like super
yeah,
easily. Usually that happens when I like burn out or something, but I can go to that place very easily. But I am also the type who's like, okay, wait, now that I have 3 days off, what do I do? Like,
Yeah.
what am I doing now? And it's nice to do nothing in a
Yeah.
way. I can see that, but there's part of me that's also like, well, maybe I should use this time to do something of value.
Of
Maybe I
value.
should use this time, right? And that was also a message that came up a lot during COVID, that people
Yeah.
who had the time, who had forced time off, could actually have time to do the things that they wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
Like they should use that time to do the things that whatever. And for some people it was like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, and for some people it's like, why are you forcing me to want to do something? It's okay to do nothing too. But
Yeah.
is it because we're used to having that mentality of doing? Oh yes, now I can actually take that course that I wanted to do for so long and I couldn't do it while I was having a full-time job, and now I can. Is it
Yeah.
because you really want to do it, or is it because you want to do something, just to do something
Yeah.
because you want to fill up your time because you're not used to just not doing? Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. You bring up a good
Okay.
point. You bring up a good point because, like, uh, it's just like during COVID, and also it just in every day. And I think also before COVID, like, when it was time to stop,
Hmm.
you still have that mentality. I have to do something. I
Hmm.
have to do something. I have to do something. And this is why something that I always say, like, society tells us, do.
Hmm.
Just do, just don't stop, just keep on doing, But sometimes it's nice to just, sit down and just relax.
Hmm.
And like, not think about anything. And I've done it a few times. I've just, like on vacation, I'm just like, I'm not gonna go hike. Because like now I enjoy I hike all the time. Like my husband and I, we love hiking. It's like something that we love doing, right? But sometimes just sitting down and just like you wake up in the morning, you eat, you watch a movie, Outlander or whatever, and you just yeah, because we're obsessed with Outlander, Rachel and
Yeah.
I. But yeah, so it's like it's an inside joke, but that's why we're laughing. But yeah, so um, just do nothing and just like and I sometimes like I want to tell people like I don't urge people like you do what you want, of course,
Hmm.
but just to try, just like one day, like when you, of course, if you've been working, because sometimes again, depending on the situation, some people don't have work, so they have to work at the same situation. So I don't want to make it sound like as I'm being insensitive, but if you are in the position where you've been working because society tells you like to overwork and you have that time for yourself where you can just relax, just try, just like
Hmm.
even one day, just out of your 5 days vacation, just like or like a week vacation, just like take one day to just like you wake up and just like stay in bed, uh,
Hmm.
like and don't feel bad about it.
Hmm.
Yeah. That was a good conversation we had.
Yeah, I agree. It was I didn't even know that it was actually this long.
I know, like
It just flowed.
it just flowed. Yeah, it's just because I just feel like it's important to talk about these things because yeah, I do
Hmm.
feel like sometimes where society does send us messages sometimes, and
Hmm.
those messages can become all like messy, and then
Yeah, it's
then
hard to
this
distinguish what is that you want
yeah
versus is it something that is engraved in me? Like, is it ingrained in me?
yeah
Something that you don't really know. So, like, I mean, like you said, you do what you want to do, but it's
yeah
nice to pause and kind of reflect on what is it that I'm actually doing?
yeah
Like, is this voluntary, or am I just following what I've been
yeah
brought up, or what society has told me to do? Even, no one is saying like you have to do this and be the top person. Like, no one is saying that. No one told me that, really, except for
yeah
maybe my parents. But in a way, like, they always want the best for their child, right? So it's normal for them to
yeah
say things like that. But no one specifically said like, you have to do this in a certain way and then be the top. So is it like my thought? Is it me? Like I did mention, I liked having good grades. That's me. That's
yeah
just me being like, oh, I enjoy the reflection of my love for math. I enjoy that,
yeah
that part. So is it that, or is it, am I performing to perform to be
Yeah.
this, I don't know what. So it's just like
Yeah.
encouraging your thoughts to be like, oh, what, like, if this conversation sparks like your own conversation within yourself, I think that that's what's important.
Yeah. That's it.
They could probably listen to this whole thing and be like, this is total BS. I don't give a crap.
I,
I want to be top dog. I don't care if it's society or not. Like,
yeah.
whatever it is, like we don't want to shit on anyone's parade. We're just like, you
Yeah.
do you. Like, but this is just like a nice way of voicing out things that maybe you wouldn't necessarily think about
Think
on your
about. Yeah.
own, right?
Yeah. So yeah, guys, like this is the end of our conversation. It was wonderful talking to my bestie ever on my
Yes,
channel.
thanks for having me.
So if you guys like the conversation, like, comment, and share, and subscribe if you want. And thank you for listening to us. If you guys have something to say and you want to just share it, write down in the comment section. Be nice. And yeah. So thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, evening, morning, wherever you are. Bye, guys.
Bye.
I'm gonna stop sharing. Stop recording.